Alright, how you doing, folks? Wanted to talk about the conventional traditional grip today and the work I've been doing with love and humility for the people who are actually really good at this, especially the guys in the rudimentary world, drum corps world, which I'm not a part of. But short of it is, a long time ago I got into playing conventional, traditional, just to get stronger doubles and to get me away from this, the way I was doing it before, which was actually pretty limiting and did not involve the rotation of the forearm here at all. I was just more playing doubles and playing traditional from the fingers with the stick deeply in the hand like that. And you know, sometimes I would get into this kind of, you can see the elbow moving up. It was more of the problem that I was getting into really was the index finger hooking over the left hand and then, you know, hitting a rim shot and wanting to get away from the drum to create volume without really twisting just the forearm here and isolating the elbow, or the part of the elbow or whatever it is that actually sends your forearm rotating up, which is a different deal, right? So it's, well, here's a better example. There's just not twisting the forearm and moving up. Here is just twisting the forearm. You can see we're actually getting away from the drum now, but we haven't gone up at all with the forearm here from the elbow. So it's important, or it's been for me anyway, to just to isolate and to learn about what wants to move. You know, okay, let's get into conventional traditional first. If you don't know what that is, traditional grip is just, it's like that, right? And the stick is deep in the hand. The index plays a huge part. So does thumb. So does rebound. So does gravity. And it's great for really quiet drumming. What I have disliked about it is, it's like I've said, for getting louder, it feels like the fingers shouldn't be involved if you're further away from the drum and you're further away because you want to hit the thing harder and get more volume out of it, then you don't really need fingers. So, but you do, or it helps to cultivate or create a feeling of just being intimate with the stick and the instrument when you're, say, playing a double with just the finger, like that. So I don't know if you can really see that, but I'm hitting it once, it's bouncing, and then I'm pulling the stick in. It's kind of a push-pull thing, and it works for sure at this low volume. But that's as loud as I can go, and it really feels like I'm coaxing this thing into working with me, and I'm using rebound too. And that's great, but I wanted to get doubles more up in there, so I went to see the great Michael Beauclair, who is still my teacher, and he introduced me to conventional traditional, which finds first that the wrist has to be broken to here, so the thumb the thumb is now in line with the forearm. There's one point of axis here, all the way from the elbow down to the tip of the thumb. The thumb is on the middle joint of the index finger, or just a little bit to the right of it. And now the rotation is from the forearm, just one thing. The fingers are static. They're not really involved too much at this point. So this is all about training you to accept this twisting, natural twisting motion that unfortunately we don't do anywhere else in life. So which is why it's so non-intuitive to play an instrument this way. You know, the only people who do this are, I call it the New Jersey Shrug. People in New Jersey kind of shrug like that. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. It's pretty funny. But so you've got just the forearm now. The wrist has been broken versus this, the wrist not being broken. The thumb is going off to the side like that, and it's just a flat wrist all the way from the outside of the elbow all the way down to the knuckles. And there's the limit of my rotation right there. So you can see my brain is now telling me, okay, got to open up your hand here to get further travel of the stick, for it to rotate further like that, versus breaking the wrist, one point of axis, and I'm already further out with this, the fingers already on the stick still, and haven't even had to open up my hand yet to get more rotation. Which brings me to thumbs real fast. Actually, we'll get to thumbs in a sec. The last point about conventional, traditional, is the stick rests on the cuticle of the fourth finger. I think I've talked about this in the past. That's a weird point to get used to for sure, but if you want it bad enough, then it becomes more natural. Okay, we'll get to thumbs, but so now my doubles are I can get them a lot louder because I'm using the forearm. I'm just twisting. Now this took me a long time, but it's only a recent development, and I've seen Michael and he's helped me out a lot. Most recently he said, okay, well, you have to decide, you have to choose between whether you're just going to twist or whether you're going to twist and rotate up at the same time, which is what I was doing for years. See that? It's not really necessary to go up when you can get the same volume from just twisting the forearm out here. So there we are. You take your thumb off any grip and everything falls apart. Immediately I've already started to hook my finger over just to replace the thumb and the left hand. So your thumbs play a huge factor in completing any grip that you've got, whether it's matched. Here in German, my thumb is on the side and there's a big open space in here, which is great for a lot of things, but when you take your thumb off, it just it starts to fall apart, and you compensate with the meat of your knuckles or this part of your hand to keep the stick traveling on a vertical plane. The reason for that is because you can't hit anything on the drums by moving horizontally. The vertical plane of rebound is all on a. It's actually the surfaces are horizontal, so you have to learn to rotate vertically like this. Whether you're French matched, you're coming straight up, straight down. American, same deal. German, same deal. When you take your thumb off of any of these grips, it just doesn't work anymore. So even with back to the left hand, when you just isolate your wrist in this respect, it serves no purpose because you can't hit anything on the drums this way unless you're really into some of the more intricate jazz stuff, you know. So so that's why the forearm rotation is this massive component of that grip, you know. But so's your thumb. In fact, with enough training and practice, you can just hit the drum with your thumb alone. And even factors in when you want a lot of volume in a rim shot. With the conventional, you rotate, put all your energy into sending the stick up, loading it up, and then you change direction, and relax is the hardest part. You relax on contact, which lets the stick vibrate more and the drum vibrate more, so you get a bigger sound. And then you have to catch the stick, which I'm really working on a lot. I have a ton of work to do in that respect. But you hit the rim with your thumb. So that you have to just sit there forever and work on that. Okay, the last point about why I've gotten into conventional more is there's actually two reasons. The first is seeing Billy Drummond play at the end of the 90s, playing jazz, just burning at a low volume. I'm not a jazz drummer by any means, but I was transfixed by how far away the stick was from his body, even though he was still playing traditional. And if you look at it, if you close your hand more and you send the stick deeper into your fingers, the index comes over and it sends the stick into this shallower angle. Is that the right term? Shallow angle? So I don't know. But you're actually coming more from the side. You're coming at the drum from the side here, right? And it pulls your elbow forward, especially when you want to hit the drum in the same area away from your body as your right stick, say. So let's say I want to get my left hand to match where I am. Because of where the fulcrum is in the left hand, and just how our hands are built, it forces you to pull your elbow forward, and that makes me more conscious of what's going on in my shoulder. And when I go up to hit a tom, well, my left arm is just naturally further up than my right hand. And you can see how much further up my wrist is from my right hand, and that just kind of bugs me, you know. So when I developed the conventional traditional grip, I noted that, yeah, I'd actually seen this before. It's not an intuitive thing at all, but you can see how the hand is actually sending the stick more forward, but the elbow hasn't come forward at all. And you can still just twist and achieve that distance by virtue of what's happening with the rest of your fingers. They're in line more, and that just lets the stick come further away from your body versus being in here like that and then having to move your elbow forward. So I hope this is making some sense. What was the other reason? Okay, so that was one right there. Just getting the distance away from the body. The other was power. Excuse me, technology. I think that's it. We talked about thumbs. We talked about volume. We talked about getting the index out of there. You can bring the index in if you want, but it shouldn't just be a casualty or just it shouldn't factor into your grip by default or automatically, I don't think. Talked about breaking the wrist. We didn't really talk about dynamics too much. I guess that's kind of it. So before I was in here, just all index, really working hard that index, and now I'm more forearm twisting here like that. And then for a lot more power and just completing the stroke more fully with the arm, it's kind of a weird one, but you shouldn't go anywhere near this stuff unless you love it in the first place. You know, I wouldn't go anywhere near this stuff unless you just love and adore it and think it's cool, and it should draw you in, you know? The only people who care about this stuff are drummers anyway, so the music is always going to be like, who cares about your grip, you know? Like you got to make some good music happen here, you know? So hopefully you can get to that point with whatever grip you're using. That's my philosophy anyway. Okay. So I love this. I hope that's coming through. Like, I just think it's the coolest stuff. The hardest parts for me were getting the stick to rest on the cuticle of the fourth finger in the left hand. Unfortunately, the left hand is being given the task of not only being the least dexterous of the two, if you're right-handed, but just having to adopt all the strange nature of this grip. Okay, anyhow, there you go. A little bit more playing for you. I was here for many, many years, and then eventually here, and lately I'm more in here. I work on this all the time, and I just love it. Elbow's another thing to talk about as well. Rotating in, continue the rotation, sends the elbow out. I'm just new at this, so you'll have to forgive how sloppy and awkward this all really is, but hopefully one of the main things that's come through today is just how much there is to discover about how we're naturally made, how the forearm is built. It can rotate, and it sends the thumb all the way out and the palm looking straight up, you know, without even having to do this yet. There's tons and tons of rotation, which translates as distance and volume, potential volume away from the sound source on this vertical plane, right? When you open up the hand and hit from the thumb, the stick can travel all the way out there, and then you can develop this thumb muscle, which is a drumming muscle, to produce more volume if you need it. Okay, I could go on forever, blah, 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 blah. I hope everyone's doing well, loving what they're doing, as of course you should, and just believing that there's more to learn, as of course there is, you know, always. But it's got to be love that's driving it, or else, fuck it, what's the point? You know, seriously. Use your love for something to develop it. Hope everyone's doing well, and see you next time.